Hi, today I'm going to show you how to rebuild the HP LaserJet 2400 fuser. What I mean by rebuild is we're going to replace the fuser sleeve. On this model there's actually two styles of fusers. There's an RM1 1491 and then there's also an RM1 1535. They're both the same. HP just happened to use a couple part numbers on the way through. On this repair, I like to use a number 2 Phillips with a good tip. We're going to use a pick tool on this repair, or a very small, almost like a jeweler size flat blade. I'm also going to use some lubricant. So you're going to want to use a sandwich bag or some saran wrap on your hand just to protect yourself as you're using it, and also maybe even a sheet of paper on the way through this one. Let's get started. On this model, I like to remove one black screw right in the front. It holds onto the a little black plate, cover plate, paper guide, and let's remove this. On my videos, I try to not cut or edit anything, so you'll see me screw up periodically, and it is what it is. There you go. One plate's held on by a couple clips on the back side. No big deal. Okay, our goal is to remove the two screws and have this hinge forward so we can expose the fuser. So let's remove the two screws, one on the top right, one on the top left. And I'm always working in a pretty awkward visual for myself, just so I can always try to get you the best view possible. This fuser truly is not that complicated to rebuild, and definitely save you some money. I try to use a very easy approach, so we're not doing a complete tear down, of course. So we're just we're getting the job done, and we're going to give you a good result. All right. On both sides, there's little plastic clips that you might have to press into, and in order to have this open up just like that. You can see a couple springs. If they fall off, just put them back into their socket. Okay, right now we're starting to see the fuser sleeve. Right now, Teflon coated, just like your pans at home. This one has actually suffered from a very severe wear mark, and actually this wear mark, I can tell already it's from an envelope. It lines up perfectly. The customer probably ran a lot of envelopes, and of course the corners of the envelope agitate the sleeve and it wears the Teflon off. So this fuser is a perfect candidate for re-sleeving. Okay. On my procedures, I try to use the easiest approach possible without getting you into trouble and giving you a good result. We're not going to touch anything on the gear side. We're going to work on the non-gear side. And the first thing we want to do is remove this copper contact on the back of the element. I'm trying to get you in close. Almost should be working with some better light. And it's right here. I need you to really clearly see that. We don't want to do it from the bottom. We want to work it from the back side and lift up. It's the way the clip is held into place. And there it is. And I want to really show you this so you can see it. And what we did is we picked up on the back of it and lifted up. Just like that, and then slid it off. Put this somewhere safe. What that does is that clip actually holds the collar onto the element. Okay, on the gear side, just lift up on the black collar a little bit. It won't lift out of its socket, but it's going to give you enough room to lift up the side with the yellow wiring harness. You don't want to lift it up too high because the element could crack, and we don't want that. If that happens, you're going to be left in a position of buying a fuser. Unravel the yellow wiring harness, yellow white one, and pull the collar right off. There it goes, nice and easy. I like to use a piece of paper at this time. What I'm doing is I'm folding it up, and I'm actually going to insert it below the fuser, between the lower pressure roller and also the one that we're getting ready to take off, the sleeve. This will kind of protect it when we put the lubricant on. You can slide the sleeve right off right now. Right through the wiring harness, it'll go. There you go. Sleeve is off. Nice and easy. Okay, the replacement sleeve will always have a notch on it, or a discolor on one side compared to the opposing side. This discoloration is actually a grounding contact. On the lid assembly, there's a little wire brush. that's the side that the discoloration of the sleeve will go on, and I'll walk you through that. It's important that these sleeves stay directional. Okay, at this point in time, I'm going to put a glove on. We're going to lubricate that the element. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to lift up the element a little bit, just like this, on both sides. And we're going to rub our finger across the bottom. That's where the glass is. That's the lens. That's the heating element. It heats up real hot. And we just want to get this nice and well. And remember, that element is not held into the housing, so you may feel it kind of slip out of its position a little bit. It's really important that you kind of hold it in there. And you can do that on this side. My finger is underneath it, and I'm kind of holding that little glass plate in its socket as I'm getting this lubricant on there. The lubricant is the key. There's a lot of, we provide lubricant with our sleeves, but there's a lot of poor quality lubricant that's on the market right now. And really, if you want just a great result with a long-lasting fuser, the lubricant is definitely the key here. Okay, we're ready to reinstall the sleeve. You can see why we put the piece of paper there. It kind of protects that lower roller from getting any of that lubricant on there. And what I'm going to do is slide the sleeve through the wiring harness, and my element just kind of came down a little bit. And I want to hold that into its socket and put the sleeve. I try to work just like you, so if you see things happen, that's kind of a good thing, because you know that that's how it goes. Sometimes you have a couple little areas that give you problems, and I don't like chopping my videos. I like you to see it just like I do. Okay, now at this point in time, I'm going to reinstall the clip. And I'm going to do that by identifying the cutout just like this, and I'm going to slide it into place, because that's what holds that element to that housing. I'm sorry, let's put the collar on first. Lay the wires down, all the way down. Again, I'm just working in a really awkward situation, or an awkward view here. Okay, let's put the collar on. Keep the wires down. And there we go. Okay, perfect. Got it sit right back down into its little cutouts. Now we can reinstall the clip. Maybe I can bring you in on this so you can see this. Here's the clip. I want the cutout to be on the top, and start. This is truly probably the hardest part of the whole repair, is this little clip. Okay, mine just pressed right into its socket, nice and good. Okay, perfect, nice and easy. Okay, now at this point in time, we can go ahead and reinstall the cover plate. This is just a real simple repair. And you can see the little brush is on the side, the left side, and that's what actually touches that. We're going to start off at the bottom. And again, our goal is just to hinge this right up. Now the two springs on the left and the right side of those black collars actually have little nipples that they go into. And so you just want to make sure on the left and the right side, both of those are in their socket, and press down. Again, sometimes the clips will hold, and if you're lucky, you can go ahead and let go of it. And if not, sometimes you have to hold it with your hand and put one side in at a time. So let's reinstall the left and the right screw. Again, my guide is just a real basic guide on how to do this, and of course when we're doing these, we're tearing them down pretty far, and I'm just a believer, if you're not familiar with these, you definitely don't want to get yourself in any type of trouble. You're dealing with these springs on the left and the right side, so you kind of have to hold them, make sure your screw goes in correctly. Okay. Kind of in the home stretch here. Now let's reinstall the black cover plate. There's some indentations on it, so you'll start it off, and there's 3 little clip holes in the carcass that kind of holds those clips, and you'll just set it down there until that hole lines up, and you're going to start off at the right and then just pull it to the left. You'll have 1 screw left. Again, this is just really a pretty decent repair without going real deep into the fuser. It allows you to do that, and that's a cool thing. So if your printer suffered from print quality and of course things that required this fuser to be disassembled, real easy. You can now turn the fuser with the gears, make sure everything's spinning okay. If you see some excess grease on the sleeve, you can wipe it off. You're not going to hurt anything. Again, keep in mind these sleeves are used to handling thousands of pages of print going through them, so you're not going to hurt anything. All right. Right now at this time, just make sure all your connectors are in good, and reinstall it in the printer. Run 20-30 prints with it. And if you happen to get an error 50, on this model, again, you wanted to be really delicate while you were working with that porcelain or that ceramic glass element. But if you had an error 50, you'd want to take it out, check the connectors, make sure everything looks okay. And this is just really a great repair that can save some serious money. And thanks again.